Very good, cheers, man. Tired. My boy decided to wake us up at like 3 in the morning and wouldn't go back to sleep till about 6. And then I had to get up at 7. So
Bloody
apart from that, all good.
Softy.
How much did you get out today?
You can't speak. You're sunning it up.
Yeah, yes, he doesn't sleep. That's why I'm saying you're a softy. Like 3 hours sleep is fuck loads, man. Okay, if you can do that, you can conquer the world. If I sleep, every time I sleep 3 hours, I open up a business.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a cool thing to do. If you can't sleep, just open up a business.
You joke. My brother tells me every time that, because every time I go to, we do these Tony Robbins events, where you get motivated and learn some skills, life skills and stuff. And then every time I go, he tells me beforehand, he says, whatever you fucking do not open up a business when you come back. Please don't do it. And then, yeah, I go to the event, and then when I come back, I open up a business.
Love it. Oh, sorry. I swallowed my coffee a bit too quick there. I could have just muted myself, but if I'm going through the pain, everyone can hear it as well. But I hope you're enjoying yourself anyway, Wolf.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's always very idyllic and beautiful. It's our favorite place. We used to come twice a year at the beginning and the end of the season, and I actually wanted to build the space here, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. But yeah, it's incredible, absolutely incredible.
Have you got any of the Greeks to start accepting cash as payment?
No, but they do just accept cash. Cash.
Cash. Give me
Yes.
cash.
They love that. They
Yeah, I
love that.
bet.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think the future of crypto is going to start in these types of economies. Because if you look at Africa and you look at Greece, there's this whole subsection of business and commerce that's happening with cash, and it's like a whole market that happens specifically to not have all of this tax burden that comes forth, because it's not viable to run businesses in the systems that the West has built. So most probably that's where it's going to originate, when people are going to start using cash, because it eliminates not only all of that other nonsense, but also gives you the ability to have or earn something that grows in value and doesn't deteriorate.
I 100% agree. And I've always thought this. Like, even if you have sort of a global business or a business that deals with companies abroad or anything like that, or even having just to pay for services abroad, it's so. I mean, Levendi, you'll know this as well, because obviously where you work, sending money abroad can be so annoying and complicated, and sometimes really costly. Delays on payment, everything like that. It is, and especially when you're a business and you're sort of relying on cash flow, because cash flow can squeeze a business easily. Like, margins are tight, and you need that cash flowing properly. And if one bank decides they're not going to let a transfer through because of whatever ridiculous reason they ask, it's just a nightmare. And then you just think, why not just use cash as a payment rail, even if you're not actually even if you're not crypto minded, or you don't even want to go into the world of crypto, and you just want to convert your cash straight back into your fiat currency. I don't know why you would, but some people may do that. Well, or maybe for business expenses, fine. But just use cash as a payment rail. It's a no-brainer for me. It really is. But it's just getting that adoption out there and getting people to understand it.
I mean, I personally think that there's a very, very big opportunity to just use cash as the mechanism to move things across, where you exchange it on one side to cash and re-exchange it from cash to the other currency on the other side. If you just do the setup properly for that, because the reality of it is the speed of cash is so quick. I think your risk, your exchange rate risk, would be minimal, because you can probably build a system that's almost instant in that process. So yeah, I think there's definitely opportunity for that.
Yeah, 100%. I can see Shy down in the audience. That's awesome, man. How you doing? Love having Shy here and Coda of Stuff. Awesome. We've got some great people in today. But yeah, no, going back to that, Wolf, totally agree with you. And the other thing I think as well is, I don't know, well, I think we're quite, in sort of the Western part of the world, I'd say we're probably quite sheltered from how bad things can possibly be in other countries. Say, for example, like Venezuela or Argentina, when it was just going hyperinflationary, people's savings just absolutely getting obliterated, banks withholding money, or if they were holding USD to sort of stabilize their own savings, they'd switch them over. The bank would just take control of that and say, well, but don't worry, we'll pay you back in your Argentinian peso, for example. And it's devalued by the time they've even given it back to them. But like, and things like that. But even like some countries just don't like banking, or they don't trust banking, or they don't have banking. I think crypto in those countries, I'd love to see crypto really get adopted there first, I think, because then they'll pave the way. They'll show the way of how crypto can actually work and that can actually function. And it'd be awesome. Like you said, like, well, you're South African, you know about that. In Africa, it'd be awesome, just like a continent like that, just actually really jumping on this. And I mean, I may be speaking out of turn, but what are the banking system like in Africa? Because I can assume it's, and this is an assumption, it's probably not great.
Well, it depends. I mean,
you guys, sorry, Wolf, you guys rely much on Western Union, right?
yeah, well, depends which part of Africa, of course. Like South Africa's got a very sophisticated financial sector and system. But for the rest, it's predominantly Western Union. But if I think about all the stuff I've got on Web3 that's from there, all of them I'm paying in Solana, and I'm doing it from. I use Revolut over here and send it over to them. But most of them have got like very, very old school, or let's call it traditional crypto wallets. So yeah, that's one. But the one thing I wanted to mention, which you actually touched on, and one of the big things that's not only happening in the West, but it's happening in economies like South Africa also, is we're starting to get a excessive overreach from governments in regards to tax collection and tax collector powers. And we had in the UK a law that was put through the other day where they can now, HMRC can now seize your money in your account based on their own assumptions. It's not even based on whether you have been proven to not pay the tax. It's if they say you haven't paid the tax, they can take it out of your account, and then it's going to be up to you to prove that that's not the case. And if you're in the UK law system, you're looking at a minimum of about 250k to get this to the High Court and win if you believe you're right, or if your accountants or whatever believe you're right. But the interesting thing was, the other day I was reading, South Africa passed the exact same law in with their tax revenue service, so they can also seize money out of your bank accounts. So in a sense, one of the things about crypto, and you talk a lot about it, Chris, is the fact that you can be your own bank. So there's definitely a user case to be so in control in your money that you actually own your wallet, and people can't fucking just seize it in the process. So we're moving in that direction.
Well, good luck to any tax revenue system that tries to take money from my bank account, because I'm fucking fiat broke. I literally just have OPEX, and that is it. I don't have savings, don't have anything. Like, it literally monthly OPEX. That's it. But it's interesting, and it there certainly does seem to be an overreach. And I mean, I think everyone's in Kaspa for different reasons, and that's fine. It's good. Kaspa's for everyone. For me personally, I'm in Kaspa because like you said, I believe in being my own bank. I'm fine with that. I don't think that's for everyone. I think some people in the world don't want to have that responsibility, and that's fine. That's why. But like, banks aren't inherently evil or bad. They have a place to some degree, but I don't like the centralisation and the overreach. That's my thing. Some people don't mind it, and to be honest with you, most people are blind to it anyway. They don't understand why things should be decentralised, or they're happy with things being centralised until the point that centralisation goes wrong. And then you'll wish you had a decentralized system. So it's too late by the time you sort of get
Case
there.
proven. The other week with what I went through with my bank. Fucking they cancelled my card or issued me a new one based on non-existent fraud. It was just insane to me that they just done that and snap of their fingers. Which of course I escalated and sorted the issue now, but and of course I came out on top, but it's not the point, right? It's a complete waste of my time. I've got it there for security and trust, and I can't trust the very place I'm having my money there for. Why am I using it?
It's you know what, and it's a thing that I discovered in my adult life. Because I spoke a little bit about it, but I was hit by a legislation that was passed it's almost 6-7 years ago now, where the government pushed a retrospective law, and so they created a law which they backdated for 20 years. So even though you were compliant for 20 years with tax, they changed the law that you're non-compliant going back 20 years, and then they fined you for not being compliant with that, and they put on extra taxes and interest on top of it. So everybody that was hit with it, because it's over 20 years, ended up paying more than 100% tax of each year that you work. So you literally your tax bill is bigger than what you earned. And when I was growing up, one of the reasons why I came to the UK is I had this perception of safety, that there's this institutions that's been trial and tested, and you've got a rule of law and a judicial system that works. And when that happened to me, because of how I started fighting it and getting involved with MPs and getting involved with a bunch of the best tax lawyers in the country, etc., I managed to look behind the curtain and realized how none of this is real safety. Not a single thing that we perceive as that's giving us safety, whether it's law, whether it's the police, whether it's government, there's nothing there. And the reality of it is that as humans, we took far better care of ourselves when we took full responsibility, when you filled the role that you were supposed to do as a human being and as a man. And for me, that opens up my brain completely to what the things is that I need to have a place to protect my family for the future. And crypto is the only thing that gives you that ability in this world.
Just a slight correction there. Kaspa is the only. No, I'm joking.
Exactly.
got to say it. Anyway, we have been babbling on, and this is a show about Moonbound. But really appreciate the nice intro there. It's been very good, and the room is filled up nicely, so we can crack on. Ashton, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great, Chris. Thanks for asking. It's a Monday. I love Mondays, at least since Blockchain Banter started, or at least since I started coming to Blockchain Banter last year. So I'm thrilled to be here, and a little jealous of Wolf. Those pictures you sent in the DM chat that we're in, dude, they're killer, and you should be enjoying every moment of that.
It's pretty here. I have to say, it is a pretty place. It's always the interesting thing about this island for me is it's super quiet. So you always just have that element of quietness on top of you, which I just always love that. And it's I was telling the guys in the DMs also, it's one of the things with Wolfie, our son's a threat when he stops eating for long periods of time. One of the things that always gets him eating is when we come to Greece for some reason, just the food and the sun and the weather and all of those things. So this place has got an extremely special connection for me. It's just the place that brings my son back every single time. So yeah, I always enjoy it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man. That's cool for you guys. I'm sure you're enjoying it. Good for you.
Thanks, man.
Can't be enjoying it that much. He's on blockchain Banter.
And working. I always working.
Well, you're kind of discounting blockchain Banter there, Chris. I think anyone on that island should be tuning in personally.
I totally agree. I was just trying to massage my own ego. I was waiting for someone to say, "No, Chris, don't be silly. Blockchain Banter is the best place to be," and you did it. So thanks, Ashton.
Fell right into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm insecure. I need that love. Anyway, we're here to talk about Moonbound, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience have heard about Moonbound, but they may not know too much about it. So it's incredible to have you here to speak about it. And yeah, I'll let you take it away. Just tell us everything about Moonbound.
Just open-ended, full State of the Union here, huh?
Yeah, you're a much better speaker than I am, so I'll just mumble through my words. You've got clarity, so you'll just you'll speak perfectly to the audience. They'll understand you better, trust me.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Moonbound is the next product that we are building at Nacho, and it is I think the first that has been announced that is a fair launch platform for tokens that want to launch on EVM compatible layer 2s on Kas. So our goal here is essentially to create an opportunity for projects on other chains to experience the speed and technical brilliance that is Kaspa, right? So what we want to do is create a platform that encourages more adoption, encourages more projects to launch, be them deep in solutions or gaming or AI or simple meme coins, utility of any kind. It is not a meme coin only focused platform by any stretch of the imagination. And it's been really important for us to embody that, because there are similar platforms on other chains that have gotten a lot of hype and a lot of interest and arguably driven a lot of adoption for those chains, but have created kind of toxic cultures around that. And it's really, Nacho is all about Kas maxis, if we're honest, right? I mean, most of the community, at least so far, are Kaspa maxis, and I know I can speak for the creator team that was involved in starting this, that we don't see a second best to Kaspa, right? It is the only thing that makes sense, the ultimate sequencing layer, and we're destined for meaningful change, I think, in the crypto space, just in this ecosystem as a whole. So it's important that anything that launches here embodies those values and follows those I guess important guardrails that have kind of just inherently been set up by the community, by the core Kas group, and how this has evolved. So Moonbound is designed to be that platform. It's designed to be a launch platform that only allows fair launch tokens to be created and drives a positive flywheel of reinvestment in the Kaspa ecosystem. So we knew that with smart contracts coming, with EVM compatibility layer 2s coming to Kaspa, someone was bound to make this project, right? They were bound to create it. It's not that novel of a concept, but I think we're approaching it in a really novel way, which is more important than the concept itself being novel. So the goal overall is to create a fair launch platform that encourages significant adoption and kind of accelerates I think the potential trajectory for the entire ecosystem for this bull run, future bear markets, future bull runs. Just having a platform where projects can easily come, understand how to launch whatever their great idea is, and they can create immediate value to their users. So it's a launch platform where tradability on a token that's launched happens immediately on the bonding curve model. And we've partnered with ZealotSwap, which should be the first DEX launched on EVM Kaspa, let's call it. And these tokens will graduate directly from the Moonbound platform, where they trade on a bonding curve, to true DEX platform once this is all available. So a little bit of a monologue you sent me on this this State of the Union open-ended address, but I hope that's a good starting point.
Absolutely incredible starting point. And I think like you've already mentioned, but it's really clear to let people know that, like you said, there's other chains that have this style of I don't know what would you actually call this? Like, I know it's not a DEX and it's not a, so, but what would you actually call it?
It's a good question. I think it's we've been using launch platform, and we've been doing it for two reasons. Because I mean, we cannot skirt around the issue here, right? I mean, everyone knows what Pump Fun is, and everyone knows that that's what we're talking about when we say this platform on other chains, right? It's that, but done correctly from our point of view. The other term that I think is pretty common is launchpad, but I think that that term is minimally meaningful compared to what we're actually doing, right? We've seen launch pads or things that claim to be launch pads happen on Kaspa already with inscription tech, and it's just not anywhere near the same thing. So we've been using the term fair launch platform.
And this is the main point I wanted to get across, because like you quite rightly said, I'm glad you said pump.fun and not me. I was trying to avoid it because I know how much you sort of you don't want Moonbound to be compared to it.
I also just can't stand it myself.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I tried it one time. I don't like the experience. I don't like going to the website. I don't like the culture that surrounds it. So, and that's just my personal opinion.
Pump and fun. I like a good pump and fun.
Not the same one, Wolf. Not the same one, bro.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's like a roast. Oh, sorry, I got it wrong again.
Yeah. But Ashton, I totally agree with you. I'm not a keen fan on it. Again, that's not to say that other people can't be. If you want to be involved in that sort of, like, some people love a bit of a gamble and a bit of a flutter, but that's basically what Pump Fun is. It's about trying to extract as much money as quickly as possible. You're trying to get to the bonding curve, get shot over to the DEX, and then obviously it's basically a race to the bottom who can dump on the other person the quickest before the sort of the pump happen, or just before the pump sort of ending. But like you said, so it's similar in the ways that the functionality in it, but also you guys have, with Moonbound, have absolutely steered clear away from that sort of toxicity as much as possible, or just that that style of like major degen play, which is why one of the main here I'm going again, I can't even speak my own language.
Innovative, man.
Differentiator. The main difference between the two platforms is that obviously Moonbound is only allowing fair launch. You can't pre-mine, you can't set tokens aside or anything like that. It is just pure fair launch. Is that correct?
That is correct, but kind of only partially, and only really the second half. We have to give honest credit where it's due, and I do believe that Pump Fun on Solana is exclusively fair launch as well, and they can't pre-mine or pre-mint or whatever phrase you want to use, pre-allocate in any way tokens to the project creators, but there aren't guardrails that protect the most vulnerable community members and the most vulnerable users, and that's what we focused on. So while the idea of the fair launch platform may share a lot of similarities, and from a technical mechanics perspective, they're arguably achieving or attacking the same goal, attempting to achieve the same goal. But looking at things like the amount of tokens that you can even hold in a single wallet is something that we're restricting, and ensuring that distribution of tokens launched, even though they claim they're fair launched, can't be manipulated and can't be centralized into a really large holder in the first place. Looking at other things like dynamic graduation requirements, moving to a DEX is very, very simple on many of these other platforms. And while we want to make it simple as well, we want to make it a quick path that doesn't hinder momentum or the excitement around the project. We have to make sure that the most vulnerable community members, which are the people that are most likely to participate in a platform like this, are protected from that. So, and then to kind of, I don't know, put that final nail in the coffin, we want to encourage projects that actually want to do meaningful things in the space, and for that reason, or to achieve that, they're going to need some sort of funding or some sort of roadmap. So for projects that do launch on Moonbound, there's a minor kind of education component to this that we take them through after they've completed their initial launch, to completed the form for that initial launch. We give them some general advice, some good links and references and information they can use. And the entire model of the revenue stream from Moonbound is designed to push this back into the ecosystem. So launch projects or projects that do launch on Moonbound will receive a part of the revenue from the trading that their project did that they can use as funding for their community or their utility or whatever it is they're trying to achieve.
Awesome. And the revenue that you get in the Moonbound Treasury, so that comes from launching fees, trading fees to get to the bonding curve, and graduation fee. Is that correct?
Yep, 100% right. And one of those is unique. So there's a lot of copies, clones of this concept on different chains. So I imagine that others have charged some sort of launch fee too. But if you take the big one, Pump Fund on Solana, for example, there is no fee to launch a token. So literally anyone can just fly by night. They can create the equivalent of one AI JPEG and 5 characters of text, and 1 Solana gas fee later, their token's launched and tradable by people who know nothing about it. So just having a launch fee in and of itself, we're not trying to extract a ton of revenue or create a massive stream of money for us or the project or anything. It's simply a gate. We will see so many fewer projects launch that fit that fly-by-night model simply because they have to pay something to do it.
I think, and I think that's a brilliant idea as well. And with the launch of KRC20, we sort of saw a similar thing. I don't think there's been too many. Like, again, for I don't know what, for whatever reason, but I quite like it. When KRC20 launched, the majority of projects sort of chose to be fair launched, which I think is quite strange in this space, in the crypto space anyway. I don't think you see a multitude of fair launch projects beating pre-mined or anything like that. And that's not to say that pre-mined is bad. It's just a strange thing to see that a lot of people chose that sort of ethos. And I think I might be wrong, but I assume it's because it's following sort of Kaspa's ethos. That was as fair launch fair launch as possible. So people sort of went down that route of fair minting and fair launching their own KRC20 tokens. But to prevent that sort, or it might not have been just to prevent it, but there was obviously a fee to set up or launch your own KRC20 tokens, and that fee I think did help with, like you're doing with Moonbound. It prevented the spam that was coming through. Like it at least had a cost to it that made people think twice about just launching any old shit. And hopefully that's going to work well with Moonbound as well.
It's the exact goal for sure, and you're definitely right. The 1,000 CAS fee to deploy a KRC20 was definitely a barrier for some. And this kind of goes back to like Web 2 real business mindset too, at least for me personally, because I started my career very early on out of high school, before I'd even gone to college and got my degree, that I was selling phones and wireline services and stuff for AT&T. And I remember looking at an iPhone that was for sale in the store, and we sold it for 99 cents. This was back when 2-year contracts were a thing. So if you sign a contract, you get to pay only $1, 99 cents for the phone. And I remember asking our manager, we would get so many more sales if it was just free. We don't care about the dollar. This is AT&T. We don't need that dollar. Why are we charging $1? And his answer to me was to prevent the scammers from coming in here and lighting up brand new phone lines that they want to get a free phone without needing to put any ID information or any credit card swipe. It just, the small little barrier to entry prevents the automated scams that can happen without any human interaction, right? Someone can simply set up an API, launch all of these different things, collect some sort of revenue, and they don't need to sign any transaction. They don't need to submit anything. So again, a small fee is a big benefit regardless of revenue.
That's actually insane. That going back to that story, that 99, what was it, 99 cents?
Cents, yeah, $1 basically.
So $1 was enough to prevent sort of, or just have enough of a impact on people just sort of spamming the iPhone market.
Yeah, exactly. They just could come in and without that dollar, they didn't need to provide any cash. They didn't need to sit at a register to check out. They could just order 10 of these from the site, have them shipped to them, and then not pay their bills monthly. And that means they got a free iPhone that they can go sell either locally or in another country for a premium. And it becomes a ripe, black market.
Well, that's a brilliant bit of market research there. I mean, if Apple or AT&T looked into that sort of model, it obviously works. So perfect to bring it over to Moonbound. And I think it will work, and it will make people want to seriously think about what they're launching. Well, with the hopes of that anyway. But I did want to talk more about your graduation process. So what is it that a token or a God, sorry, I'm really tired, so my brain isn't fully functioning. It's bad enough as it is anyway. But what if someone launches a token? What is it they need to do to graduate?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're definitely still finalizing things. This isn't released yet, and that's why we haven't shared documentation for it yet, because we want to make sure that everything is not only doable on chain with a smart contract, because this platform needs to be completely decentralized and run 100% on chain by the contracts, not by us, not with any type of human interaction. It needs to be properly set up. So there's a small asterisk that things could still change when we send out documentation, but I do think that we're very, very close, and I think that it's doable. So one is number of holders. So actually distribution of the token, and we're not seeing 5 holders that are going to own 100% of the potential liquidity that goes to a DEX. The market cap of the token matters. The percentage held by certain wallets, right? The dev wallet, the top holder, the top 10 holders of this token are all things that we take into account. So essentially what you'll see is a token may hit the market cap that they're allowed to graduate at and still not graduate. And there's information on the page as to what is expected or what's missing. We don't want to overshare information and say, hey, you have 24 of 25 holders, and when you get one more, you graduate, because this again opens up the gaming of the system where people can simply split wallets and look at that. But we're including some logic around the wallet splitting tracking idea as well. We've seen this with a number of things recently, even inscription based stuff with KDAO voting and stuff like that. So these things are all taken into account. So mainly market cap, holder distributions, both from a percentage held perspective and a number of holders perspective, and then time is the last piece. That they've actually, we don't want to see tokens graduating in an hour, 2 hours on the platform like we do in some others.
Yeah, see, again, that's such a better move. I think that will only make projects think about what they need to do. Are they going to take this seriously? I really like the design of it. Like you said, it's the techie side of it similar to Pump.fund, but the actual way you've approached it is so much more ethical, and I think it's something that is going to be a net positive for the Kaspa ecosystem, for sure, especially with like you guys behind it. I mean, I know you personally anyway, Ashton, and you are a great guy, but the processes you're setting up here is all about trying to boost the ecosystem rather than extract from the ecosystem, and I really like that about Moonbound. I think it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, and that's to that point on adoption, Chris. It's critical that we allow any type of project to launch here too. So if you look at many of the Pump Fund clones, you see essentially meme coin geared platforms, both from a visual design perspective. Everything's flashing, looks like the most degen casino you've ever been in type idea. Anyone can launch any type of token with any type of graphics associated with that, and we've seen all those type of things. So and one critical thing, even from a technical perspective, is token supply. Every token that goes through Pump Fund, the creator doesn't get to set the supply. It is so simple. All they have to do is drop an image, drop a ticker, create maybe a small description, and they're off to the races with no fee. We're allowing people to create their own supply from this, their own, I don't want to say tokenomics, because it's not real true tokenomics. Everything has to be 100% first come, first serve, fair launch, but they can set the maximum supply of their token. And this is critical for certain types of projects. If you're a simple meme coin and you don't care about building anything other than a community, then maybe your token supply doesn't really matter. You just let it play out based on the bonding curve trading. But in our case, we want to see projects that make meaningful change come through this platform and just use it as an accelerated way to launch their project to a well-built community and audience already, and have quick tradability. So being able to set the maximum supply matters a lot if you plan on using it for a specific purpose in the future.
Awesome. I can see a question from Shy. He says, can you tell me more about split tracking?
I want to say yes. I mean, partially because we're here and partially because you're Shy. But it's not fully vetted yet, and I don't have all of the answers. So we've brought in a couple developers from outside Nacho community, outside, I think, Kas ecosystem, to be frank. They're aware of it and their experience, but my real life history is recruiting, tech recruiting, and I put on my recruiting hat and found some good developers to help. So I need to create more well-articulated documentation around that, and I'll be happy to share it with you. I just don't have I don't have an easy to repeat line in the top of my head that I think would do any of us any good right now.
Is this something that you could utilize Kas under for?
Yeah, in the theory of Kas under, for sure. All of this would exist on a layer 2, an EVM layer 2 on Kas, and currently, as far as I know, Alex's work there is focused exclusively on what's available now on mainnet, and mainly tracking inscription, Kasflex, and I think he has a roadmap to KSPR stuff. But the concept, for sure, absolutely. And really, I guess one bit of information that I think will be helpful to Shai's question is looking at the last few transactions in a wallet as it relates to that token, and comparing those transactions to the current wallet buying, right? If you see an easy example of wallet A sending Kas to wallet B, and then wallet A is a large holder that's already at 10% of the supply or something like this, and they're going to buy again, that's what we're looking at and trying to prevent. So it's not going to be a perfect system, and it will, for sure. These people are smart, and everyone figures out a way to do something. So I am not naive enough to think that we're going to be able to prevent it 100%, but what we're trying to do is create significant obstacles for people who want to game in the system that inherently makes gaming it less profitable, less enjoyable, less easy to accomplish, and a bigger obstacle, I guess, to be repetitive.
Brilliant answer. And again, it's sort of the Kaspa way, isn't it? Sort of, for example, if you look at the MEV problem, it's never something you're going to ever be able to completely tackle. But you can actually make it in your favor. So everyone's always going to try and take the biggest rewards they can possibly get. So you just make it harder for them to get that. And that's similar to what you're sort of saying. Not that you're going to be solving MEV. I mean, that would be incredible.
Way over our head, right?
Yeah.
Compare that problem to what we're talking about today. They're orders of magnitude different.
I was just trying to big you up a bit.
Well, I appreciate it.
Awesome. So yeah, so once you've once a project's gone through deploying on Moonbound, they've managed to reach the graduation stage, then they get basically transferred over to Zealous Swap, where you or Moonbound will burn the LP token, so liquidity is locked, so there's no chance of rug pulling, and then Zealous Swap can then take over for the DeFi side of things.
100% accurate. Yep. The way the contract works for Moonbound now is that we don't actually on many other chains from my research, each transaction on the bonding curve is minting new tokens for buys and burning them for sells, which is an interesting problem when you look at wanting the creator to be able to set their token supply. You don't really have that ability to mint and burn like that. I mean, maybe there is a solution, and I know there's someone's going to come out and be like, oh, you do it like this, and you're right, you could do it like that. But the goal that we wanted to have was have a consistent supply for the token that doesn't get minted and burned. So the token factory for Moonbound actually creates the entire token and all of its supply right away, and we hold 25% of that back for the liquidity pool on Zealous, and 75% of that supply is tradable on the bonding curve. So upon graduation, we're going to see 75% of the token out distributed in wallets, in holders' wallets, and we'll see 25% immediately put in the liquidity pool on Zealous Swap with those LP tokens burned, so it can never be removed.
Amazing. And just one question. I'm assuming that the pair is going to be with CAS. Is that right? Or like if say for example stable coins do actually come online, is that then something that you'll look at pairing with, or is it mainly going to be CAS? Or would it be wrapped CAS actually, but still CAS?
Yeah, it's going to be the native gas token on the layer 2, which arguably is CAS if done correctly, but has a ticker of wrapped CAS probably, or iCAS, or whatever they decide. So yeah, it will be that native gas token on the L2, which will be the wrapped version. But to answer your question, everything we're doing is directly with CAS. So the liquidity pool set up on Zealous will be token CAS, and that's the only thing we'll actually have access to in the Moonbound contract, because purchasing and selling through the bonding curve requires CAS. You're buying with CAS, or you're getting CAS when you sell.
Amazing, that's brilliant. And I did have a question, but I forgot. I could see up on the jumbotron. I said he lost connectivity exactly as you started answering his question. He'll listen to the recording later.
Well, please do listen, and we got an open door, Shy, especially for you, man. Call. We'll get on a call, answer every question you want.
Absolutely brilliant. That's what I was going to ask. So obviously there's different variations of L2s coming onto Kaspa as soon as or shortly after the Crescendo update. Is Moonbound going to be on both, or I say both, as many layer 2s as are coming out?
I see Zealous in the audience throwing up a laughing face because he knows the pressure I'm under with this question. The answer to your question is technically undetermined. My grandiose goal personally, which is just me, is that I would love to one day see Moonbound have a little switch at the top that allows you to choose the L2 that you want to deploy on. But there's a lot of variables that have to align for that to be possible. And one is, well, I guess first is the existence of the L2, right? So when are they coming out? When are they available? We've heard a lot of news. We don't have a lot of concrete timelines. So which one comes first? Which one comes second? What we do with that information, it's hard to determine at this stage, but we're staying close with both teams and trying to figure out exactly what makes the most sense. And if we're successful in achieving that long-term goal, kind of my pipe dream of having any CAS L2 supported by Moonbound, that would be ideal. But one of the biggest factors is a DEX on one of those L2s that is ready and functional, and we can create the liquidity pools for when graduation happens. So part of our decision is tied to DEX creation. And obviously we are huge fans of our partner, Zealous Swap, and I think they're going about this in an extremely well thought out way, and they're willing to dox themselves. They're doing everything right from a building trust and building community perspective. So I'm very excited to support their efforts and work with them. And we're going to need them to exist on an L2, or some other DEX. But I don't even know if that's realistic, right? It's our partnerships with Zealous, and that's the focus.
So can we flip the question straight back to Zealous? And are they going to be on multiple L2s as well? Do you know?
I've talked to them about it, and I don't want to speak too much for them, but I will share one thing that hopefully they won't be upset about, is that initially they will not be on more than one L2 because they have a unique problem with liquidity. DEXs must have strong liquidity to be functional and have good pricing and things like this, and splitting liquidity between two networks at the first launch is very trying for that situation. I don't think it's wise to do for the LP holders or the end users on there. So it's a critical thing. They care a lot about providing a really good experience, and that's a factor in that experience.
I'm actually quite glad to hear that because, yeah, it sounds great to be able to be on as many layer 2s as possible. But like you said, liquidity needs to be pretty deep. Otherwise, people are going to be getting slipped left, right and centre. So I think that's is a good decision, definitely, and a well thought out one. So yeah,
I definitely agree with you.
So really, Moonbound is sort of waiting to see where Zealous go, and then you can build from there. And then, but like you said, it's not like that's the be all and end all. It just means that as time progresses, there may be other options available.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we work very closely with Zealous. I was on a call with Lewis and Rami today, so we have some insight into that, but it's not my information to share. So I'll leave it at that. But I wouldn't say we're really waiting on Zealous's decision. I think we have a pretty keen understanding of what they're doing, and we're aligning with that for initial launch because that's really important to provide a good experience to the whole ecosystem. But we don't have that liquidity problem that they have, and it's natural, right? The liquidity for a bonding curve trading platform like this isn't real liquidity. It's math on chain, right? We just set the pricing of people buying tokens based on a curve, and so far we've planned out and tested things with a quadratic curve, but that's still to be finalized as well. But yeah, we don't have that liquidity problem. So if they decide to expand in the future, or we see something else available, it's a conversation that we're going to have with them and any other participants at that time to see if it works and makes sense.
That leads quite nicely into my next question. Has Moonbound tried any of the layer 2s, like on their DevNet, for example, any of the layer 2s that are coming onto Kaspa?
We have tested a little bit on Kasplex layer 2, but simply from like a transfer, sending, receiving of the gas token perspective. We are planning on deploying and testing today, actually. And I think our smart contract dev is basically waiting for me to finish this space so that we can go deploy on Kasplex's L2 and do some initial testing. I was really hopeful we could do it this morning, but we had a small delay on Friday with some of the unit test cases that he was working on. So it's now on the immediate future. But yeah, we talked about this yesterday in Positive Vibes with the Nacho community. We're really hopeful to get some screenshots, maybe even a screen record video, so we can start giving a sense of what it's going to feel and look like to people in a real environment. So very, very soon from a Moonbound perspective, but not officially.
So cool, man. And what was the testing like? Was it, did it run smoothly? Was it good so far?
Yeah, 100%. No issues at all. I mean, I basically sent and received Kaspa on in, I should say, a MetaMask wallet. So if you're familiar with MetaMask or EVM, you go up to the top, you add a new custom network, throw in the RPC URL and the chain ID. You can add a little bit more information if you want. And Kasplex actually has it available, a front-end explorer for the test environment and stuff like this. And then you're good to go. So they were able to send us over some test tokens, CAS, wrapped CAS, whatever you want to call it, in that wallet, and we were able to test that way. But it's as easy as using MetaMask on ETH or anything else it supports, right? It's just a much better experience from a gas perspective.
Oh, I'll tell you what, man, it's so exciting. I'm genuine. I cannot wait for 5th of May. It's going to be incredible, absolutely incredible. And just hearing things like that, it's just, like, I think it's going to blow my mind to be able to actually connect I haven't used MetaMask in donkey's years now because I've only been on Kaspa, but it's just I'm going to have to dust it off. And yeah, it's just going to feel weird interacting with Kaspa via MetaMask is
just
it's
seeing it
exciting.
in MetaMask is so weird. I totally agree with you. I just seeing it there, even when they just sent over the gas tokens, I'm like, this doesn't belong here. This is not right. What's going on? But it is. It works. It operates well, and I think it really is going to be good for adoption. There's a lot of energy in CAS around like, let's focus on CAS and let's keep it all here and keep the ecosystem tight. And I think it's good, and it's built good relationships in this kind of like warm fuzzy environment that Yanni's talked about a couple times in his recent posts. But it may not be the best thing for adoption. So I think people getting used to seeing really proliferate tools in the crypto space also interact with CAS is going to be a really good moment.
100% agree, man. I mean, it's fun and it's cool being sort of tribal, but we do have to sort of expand our horizons, and at the end of the day, take the tribalism away from everything. Kaspa is tech at the end of the day, and it's tech that is going to be used and needs to be used. And I genuinely think I think EVM compatibility will really help in the space, because let's face it, a lot of people have built and are building on EVM compatible chains, and like Ethereum, Base, all of these other sort of chains that are EVM compatible. They now can port over to Kaspa. Well, not now, but extremely soon, can port over to Kaspa and actually enjoy the benefits of Kaspa being the sequencer. So. So they get the security and the decentralization and the benefits of all of Kaspa's network. And what I really, really, really love about these layer twos is they're not parasitic at all. They're actually, because they're using Kaspa as the layer one sequencer, it's actually driving more fees to miners who are mining on Kaspa, which is really what we want to be looking at sooner rather than later. We want to get this fee market going, and we'd love to see miners getting more rewards through fees than through blocks. As soon as that happens, we sort of know that the security is well and truly safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people, it's a hot topic semi recently, especially as you know, CAS hit 90% mined. The idea of this fast emission schedule is fantastic for all the reasons they did it. But it does mean that a fee market is really, really important for miners, or security is at risk. But from my perspective, it seems like things line up really well. You know, as we see, you didn't need this when CAS was 40% mined, 50% mined, 60% mined, but we do need it now, and it's happening now, and this is a really good alignment. So, your point on more and more of these EVM projects coming over, porting over, is something that we're thinking about heavily. And if anyone's taken a look at the landing page, it's very minimalistic so far, but we did put a little bit of info out on Moonbound. On the very quick after launch roadmap is to release this one-click portability, so that anyone on an existing or has an existing project on another chain that's EVM compatible can move it over to CAS in a single click, in theory, right? And this is functional for two reasons, right? I mean, people can be inspired to create new things by existing projects and copy trade, if you will, copy clone the idea into CAS, which is potential positive for adoption. But more importantly, we want to build in the ability to actually bring communities and people with you. So the idea of porting over and airdropping tokens to the exact same holder accounts that you've already had is possible with EVM compatibility. The wallets are the same, right? So we've got this issue in KRC20 with inscription stuff, that the wallet address that you use on CAS is not the same that's going to exist on these EVM layer 2s. And mapping those to one another is near impossible without user interaction, like manual labor or the user telling you what they're doing, which opens you up to scams or social engineering and things like this. So really I think one of the biggest opportunities is the fact that we're going to see projects have the ability to see their exact same holders on CAS,
which is incredible as well. And like, not even projects now, like businesses, Dexes and whatever else, Sexes, all sorts of businesses that are built out on Ethereum and similar chains. When you're a business, you genuinely believe you're incentivized to be on the best possible network for you, aren't you? Like if a network's people like Solana because it was quick and cheap, but the outages and the centralization of it probably aren't great, but you swallow it as a business because it's quick and cheap. Now you can port over to Kaspa, or as soon as you can port over to Kaspa. As a business, surely your logical thinking would be, well, Kaspa's quick and cheap, and it's secure. Like, and it doesn't have outages. For me, it just makes sense that businesses will port over, because why wouldn't they? Especially when it becomes so much easier to be able to do that. But this is
generally.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, but because I do think that will happen, this is why I'm actually really glad you guys have really come out first on this with Moonbound, because like some of these businesses are fucking horrible, really. And like you said, someone was going to build a platform like this. Someone was going to do it. So why not you guys, who are with like you're doing it for the right reasons. So again, that's really good to see as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've always had that mindset of we want to I don't know, lead by example or set a standard. And you know, you mentioned early on that like fair launch on CAS is very uniquely dense here, right? People like the idea and they do it, and we see a lot more of it. And you're 100% right that it's the ethos of CAS and the community that's built and the type of people that are in this community. But it's also based on success stories. You see people take actions based on others they've seen be successful. So if we can do something that champions the right ethics and the right mindset and the right values and do it successfully, people will want to copy that behavior. And the fair launch aspect, the ethics, the values, they will almost come as side effects or you know, tangential opportunities to the core goal of copying the product to be successful that they want to do. But they'll inherently come with it anyway, and they'll repeat this behavior, which is good for the entire ecosystem. The thing I was interrupting you about there, and sorry about that, was just that when businesses port over, you're 100% right that they play these like games of trade-offs, right? And yeah, the centralization's fine because it's fast and cheap. But the other thing that is really difficult for businesses is selling against the status quo. No one really wants to change something just because it's a headache to do it. It's difficult. They've now got to communicate it, and it's a minefield for FUD opportunities. So if we can create an opportunity for projects to capture the value of CAS with less risks, meaning they can use the same holder base, they have some content prepared that helps them educate people on why they've done this migration. The migration is easy and secure and effective. We overcome most of that status quo obstacle of them saying, hey, we don't want to do it just because it's new or just because it's a change for us. The value of doing it becomes far out, you know, it far outweighs the cost of that change, which I think is really important. We have to play into the game theory and the natural kind of corporate tendencies of these businesses.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And again, even if you're not a business, even if you're just like a high net worth individual or someone who's got a shitload of money on a chain, I mean, I genuinely don't know why you'd have a lot of money on Solana, because it would scare the shit out of me, to be honest with you. I don't mean to be dissing other chains, but this is my personal opinion. It would scare the shit out of me holding a lot of money on a chain that has outages, and we all know it's centralized to a degree. I wouldn't like that. And if I'm thinking it, surely there's a lot of other people thinking it as well. And this is why I think Kaspa will speak to a lot of those people. It just makes sense to me. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see anyway. I'm looking forward to when these Latus start rolling out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with your sentiment more, Chris. I am 100% on that page, and I think that's why I find myself out of place feeling in crypto communities a lot of time, because it's not this mindset that you have, that I have, that a lot of Caspians have is unique, and it's not the normal crypto industry participant, right? They're looking for quick, fast gains, fun, hyped communities, riding waves, green candles. And I mean, Bitcoin and Kaspa are the only two networks that exist in my world. And I like it that way.
Yeah, I do as well. It's a lot less of a headache. I mean, if you look at something like, what was it? Mantra coin. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going to need.
None of those
to be
people
saying,
are meditating, I'll tell you that.
No, but like, it's horrific, really, isn't it? When you see things like that, you just think, like, we all know it's, well, 99% sure it's some shady shit, or just people got liquidated because they were over leveraged or whatever it is. The main point is somebody had, or a collective group of people had a shit ton of that supply, and it just got dumped on the market for whatever reason. Like, again, I don't know where people's thinking is sometimes. That would scare the shit out of me. That's why I like proof of work, especially fair launch proof of work. You're putting security at the sort of forefront. Then, I think, rather than just any sort of proof of stake or anything VC funded or anything pre-allocated. Because at the end of the day, they're designed, like, it is exit liquidity 101. If you know someone's got a big supply of anything, it doesn't matter what it is, stocks, for example, anything. If you know there's someone with a huge supply, they're waiting for you to buy so they can dump on you and pay out and buy out. So for me, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it's because I'm in this sort of Kaspa bubble echo chamber that I think that the narrative is slightly changing, but I think it's just because I'm shielded by Kaspa. I'm hoping the narrative's starting to change and people are actually starting to take it a bit more seriously. At least their security and like sort of valuing proof of work more. But I don't know. I mean, what's your opinion on that? Do you think?
I'm kind of in the same situation you're in, right? I don't spend a lot of time deep in the trenches of Ethereum or base ecosystems or any of these that Solana, for example. Like I don't know what those individuals are thinking or doing, but I question myself about that CAS bubble a lot too, and it gives me solace that I felt this way before I knew CAS existed. When I looked at these other chains and compared them to Bitcoin, I'm like, why would I put my money over there? It just doesn't make sense to me. It sounds like I'm handing it to a bank to hold for me that they can do whatever they want to do with. And there's another part of crypto that I have a really hard time articulating. So I'm probably going to sound a tiny bit crazy here, but science tells us that everything in life is energy, and it also tells us that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So when I see things that come out of thin air, they give me pause, and they really make me question what the hell this is. And at the end of the day, it's not any different than the M2 money supply, right? It's the banks creating fractional or leveraging fractional reserve banking to create more currency in the market than actually exists. Bitcoin, Kaspa, proof of work in general, I think lends itself to a lot of credibility simply because the science supports it at a really simple high level, right? Energy goes in, Kaspa comes out. It's logical and it makes sense. And you can't simplify a lot of other consensus mechanisms or protocol operations in that way that kind of universally makes sense to people. So maybe it's just me, maybe I'm alone, maybe none of that made sense, but it's a feeling that I think I have often in crypto.
Makes perfect sense to me. But again, we're in our own little bubble, aren't we? So
definitely,
maybe that's not the real world. Awesome. There is one more question I did actually want to ask about Moonbound before we take questions or see if any questions have been asked. But when are you actually looking to officially launch Moonbound? Obviously, after L2s are in place, but is there sort of is it like immediately after an L2 is launched?
I think reasonably immediately is a good way to put it. We're prepping everything, planning, and our goal is to be ready prior to the L2 existing. And having access to DevNets and subsequently testnets is going to enable us to do this, and that's well on its way. But we want to test a little bit and make sure that everything is good on mainnet too. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience know that Nacho specifically has had an experience where we've seen a test net work flawlessly and a mainnet work not as flawlessly. So a little bit more conservative than maybe previous times in which we've launched, but the goal is essentially to launch immediately when an L2 is available.
Awesome, love it. And I do actually have one more question. So is this a project that's launched via Nacho?
It's a hard question to answer. I think the easy answer is yes. And we are taking into account making sure that Nacho token holders, Nacho NFT holders benefit from this. So when we look at revenue share, and we can talk about that a little bit if you want, there are direct ties to Nacho holders, Nacho ecosystem, and it's important, I think, that it comes from that. The type of platform needs to stand on its own, needs to have its own marketing, have its own name, right? We didn't just want to call it Kat Launch and add it to the arsenal. But we've been talking for a long time about the kind of Nacho master plan, if you will, and it ends in really creating a foundation of sorts or an ecosystem entity organization that is nonprofit to make sure that this positive flywheel of funding and development and support comes right back to benefit CAS ecosystem participants. So we've called this from the beginning Kaspa Alliance for Transparency, and we've talked to a number of other ecosystem participants that we want to be included in this. If anyone shortens that foundation name, you'll see that the acronym is CAT, so still Nacho ecosystem stuff, right? But yeah, that's when we look at revenue share. We're setting aside 30% to give back to these project stakers directly, and the remaining going to quote unquote Moonbound. That's not directly a Nacho community fund. It's not a Moonbound fund. It's really this foundation entity type that we're finalizing that is going to be supporting CAS ecosystem. So when we look at the revenue of Moonbound, anyone can go through and do calculations on it and say, okay, well, if they hit so many token launches per day or per week or per month, they'll make this amount. All of that is designed to go back into what we've built so far and what we want to continue supporting other people building in this ecosystem. So it's kind of a convoluted question or answer to a question. I don't know how to say it cleaner than that, but Nacho is the basis, the foundation for this foundation, to be repetitive, and that's where the revenue and quote unquote ownership, if you want to assign one, goes to for Moonbound. So there's a lot more detail coming out on that in the next couple of weeks that will make my ranting and rambling a lot cleaner on paper.
I mean it is awesome. It is a positive flywheel, and it is a win-win-win situation. Especially seeing as, like you said, it's going back into a foundation that you're setting up, and I'm sure we're all extremely excited to hear about what the foundation is going to be doing and the approach you're going to take there. But we'll leave that for the moment because, like you said, you'll probably have more info on that in a couple of weeks.
It's also real quick on that note, Chris. Sorry to interject there, but it's also kind of a cascading thing too. So it's really difficult to say with a community launched, community run project like Nacho that we can guarantee that we're gonna make enough revenue with Moonbound to make the Kaspa Alliance for Transparency well-funded and functional. And there's no need for a foundation that can't make meaningful change. So while we have these plans on paper and it's well documented, well thought out, and very likely to happen, we have to first see Moonbound be successful before there's really even a need to create something that can use the revenue for the right purposes. So we're prepared for that. We're planning for that. We've got all of the documentation, legal side, all the meetings with lawyers, everything handled properly. But we need to see step one happen before we can take step two, and that's a really important, I think, cascading process.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense as well. Baby steps, step by step.
Exactly. Yep.
It's perfect. I was going to say as well, I am glad you didn't call it cat launch, because that just sounds sadistic.
I'm already picturing logos, a cannon with Nacho coming out of it or something. So it seems like a circus, way more to the D-Gen vibes than what we're looking for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I sort of had a trebuchet in my mind. I went a bit more medieval on it, but yeah. Levendi, do we have any questions for Nacho about Moonbound, or well, anything in general?
Yeah, we've had a few, but you spotted them and asked them throughout the last hour. There's one that's come through though, just from Banana just now. He's asking what will happen to the tokens that do not graduate and the users that buy that specific token. Do they get refunded?
It's a good question, and we haven't entirely addressed it yet. And he's kind of getting my gears turning on a couple things, to be honest. But the way this is done now, and if we were to launch today, they would be tradable only on the bonding curve on Moonbound until they hit that requirement. So we're not arbiters of a good project or a bad project. We're simply building the guardrails to encourage more of them and try to limit any potential scams or rug pulls or things like that. But any token that does launch on Moonbound that has not yet graduated, be that 1 day or 70 days, will still be tradable on Moonbound. So what happens next if that becomes a permanent thing is an interesting question. I don't have an answer to it right now, but my gut tells me that they will remain tradable on Moonbound and the token will still exist just the same. You would just not have the same avenues to do this. But what's interesting is that anyone can create a DEX liquidity pool. So we may need to look at functionality where if someone has purchased quite a bit of token supply on Moonbound and then subsequently uses that to set up a liquidity pool on ZealotSwap or another DEX, those will be out of sync. They will not maintain the same pricing because the automated market maker model versus a bonding curve is just wildly different. So that would be a problem to tackle, which is great. We were really hoping to get tests out and have people find these niche cases and bring things to us and say, hey, what happens here? And it sounds like that's already happening today. So thanks to Banana.
Yeah, that's perfect. And just a follow up to that one as well, is there an actual timeline for a project to graduate?
There's a minimum, but that'll be in the documentation that comes out in the near-term future. But there isn't a maximum. There's no limit to how long they can trade on Moonbound as of now. Based on Banana's question, we need some more research and discussion, talk with the community a bit, but it seems like there's a need to ensure that the tradability on Moonbound doesn't exist when DEX trading does exist. So that limit, if there is one implemented, and if we tackle this question the right way, that limit would be dynamic based on the existing of a second market, not time.
Yeah, makes sense. Levendi, any more questions?
No, but you might have gotten yourself into some problems.
Oh no, why? Is it something to do with Android?
No, not even that that road today. If you want to check the Jumbotron, I think you may have pissed off the man himself about trebucheting his cat.
That's Ashton's fault, getting me in trouble, for God's sake.
Well, thank you, Shai, for picking on him and not me in my canon comment.
Yeah, I personally think a trebuchet would be nicer, but a cannon is much worse. But no, Shai, I would never ever dream of trebucheting Nacho, I promise you.
That is hilarious, though.
Definitely don't call it cat launch. That's 100%. That's out of the question.
100%. Yeah, fully agree for sure.
So sorry, I don't think we've got. Oh no, wait a minute. One's just come through again. By Banana again. I'm not sure if it's a question or not, but that's really great not having a stop time, because sometimes communities take some time to create the project and all the future utility, and that could help the projects running in Moonbound and grow to finally graduate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an interesting point too, because the way that we're planning and building for revenue share model is that we're kicking back a portion of the trading fees. It's technically all fees. It's not limited. The launch fees and the graduation fees will also be revenue shared at these same exact percentages. But the bulk of the revenue that comes from a platform like this is the trading fees. And the projects are getting payments based on their trading volumes on Moonbound. So what's interesting is a project that takes a long time to build and spends quite a bit of time on Moonbound, there's a lot of variables. We can't like perfect, I mean, we could create a bunch of different examples and run through the math to compare them. But generally, they will receive payments of that revenue share for a longer period of time, because they'll exist on the bonding curve trading for longer, which I guess depending on volume might be arguable or debatable, but my first thought is that they should receive more long-term value, because the way a bonding curve works is you're trading a set amount of tokens that go back and forth, right? So a project that graduates really fast may just, in theory, this will probably not happen, but in theory, they could have 0 cells and still graduate, right? They could just buy up that 75% supply, complete the curve, and then graduate. But fees are taken from buys and sells. So if a project has more selling going on before they graduate, but they do still eventually graduate, the volume they traded is higher, and as such, the fees on that volume are higher. So there's a lot of variables. I'm sure there's times where projects will launch and they will just have very little community attraction, and they just won't have high volumes, and maybe that's why they're taking longer to graduate. But in the case of 2 projects that are both popular and kind of on the same level of momentum, one that trades longer on the bonding curve leads me to believe that they would receive more in revenue.
Yeah, it does make sense. We have another question. What kind of projects or initiatives on Moonbound would try to, so I think it means what kind of projects or initiatives on Moonbound would you try to attract?
It's a good question. We want to see projects that are making some sort of meaningful contribution to the ecosystem, but we're not limiting anyone. I think the overarching goal here is twofold: adoption of Kaspa, which means we need to have open doors and allow people to do what they want within safety limits, right? And that's what we're building for: safety limits, not deciding what people can do. So the easy answer to your question is they can launch anything they want, but the platform is built to encourage them to launch something that is going to last, or at least has a chance of lasting and building, community and some sort of contribution back to the ecosystem. So, we've built out simple things like tags and different lists of tokens, and we're building those in a way to highlight the projects that are in subcategories or verticals of crypto that have the potential for meaningful change, right? So real world assets and decentralized physical infrastructure, DePIN stuff, and gaming and things like this. But I mean, a meme coin with no plans on creating any utility will have no problem launching. They'll just be guided through some rails that hopefully help them make a real community and something that can last. So from an attraction perspective, I think what we want to do is attract builders in other ecosystems. It's probably the easiest answer. We want to attract Solana builders, Ethereum builders, Base builders, folks from those chains that want to do it better or want to do it on a better chain.
And I really like that idea. I do think it should be open to anyone to launch what they want to launch. Like you said, you're going to have utility driven ones, and then you're probably just going to have the meme coins that may possibly just be looking for a quick pump and dump, possibly. It would likely happen, but what I actually like about it, obviously you've got your safety rails in place to sort of try and protect people as much as you feel you need to or should do. But I think I really have hope in humanity that people should try and make their own decisions, make good decisions for themselves. So when you get a lot of people that are building, say, utility driven things on Moonbound, I'd hope that people would use logic and would think for themselves and think, I want to interact with that rather than the thing that I probably know is just going to be a pump and dump, if you know what I mean. Like, I think people start to need to really start critically thinking, think for themselves, take ownership of what they do and what they invest in, and hopefully with something like Moonbound that is actually encouraging utility driven projects and for people to and projects to actually think about what they're going to be doing just through sort of barriers anyway, like you said, through actually launching on Moonbound. Just simple things like that make people and projects think about what they're doing. I really, really hope that this will attract more of that and less of the other. And because it's going to incentivize people to choose wisely, and they're hopefully going to go for the things that have utility, have a chance of making an ecosystem better, rather than just something that's maybe parasitic. So I like that. I like that you're not just cutting people off. You're letting projects build out, depending on what they are. But yeah, I like that you're not restricting people as well.
Yeah, I think there's a balanced sweet spot right there where you don't decide what people can do, because that means that you're no better than the bank that asks you why you're making a withdrawal, or the government that tells you what you're allowed to do and not do. But we create an environment where making the right decision is more attractive than making the wrong one. And I think it's really difficult in any spot of humanity to find that balance and create that goal. And it is just as difficult here for sure. There's just some things you can't solve for, or we don't know how to solve for. But that's the goal. That's the goal, is to find that sweet spot where anyone can do anything in theory, but doing the right thing is more attractive.
I can't remember who said it. I think it was Milton Friedman. He said you got to incentivize the wrong people to do the right thing, make it profitable for the wrong people to do the right thing, and hopefully that's the sort of thing you're doing. If someone wants to, they could be a complete arsehole, but if their goal is to make money and they sort of have to do it legitimately or have a reason to do it, at least be the right reason to do it. And yeah, like I said, I've got a lot of faith in humanity, and I think people can make the right choices by themselves. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to go off on one, so I'll stop there. But yeah, I love the idea.
I agree with you, man. You're in good company for sure. And what a horribly difficult challenge to tackle for sure. And I think I don't know if I'm going to quote the right person, but I'm pretty sure this is Jonathan's take to the MEV problem. It's the same conceptual theory around it. Is make it profitable or attractive to make the right decision.
It's always been about incentives. Always. We live in reality, and that's what it is. It's all about incentives.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I think it's absolutely fantastic. There was one more thing I was going to ask you. So with the treasury, the Moonbound treasury, I assume that's going to be running on a smart contract.
It is, yes, 100% decentralized. The terms that we've been using are just EVM terms, so we have to confirm everything is going to be available and possible on these layer 2s like they are on any other EVM network. But renounced is the term that's pretty common, where you can't control the contract anymore. That's our goal, is to set up the Moonbound Treasury Vault as a renounced smart contract that no one can change, no one can access, and simply distributes the revenue per the rules, the model, on a regular basis, which if gas fees support it, if the smart contracts support it, we want to do weekly. We want to get this in people's hands as soon as possible without running thousands of transactions every single minute, day, hour, whatever it is. So weekly seems like a possible sweet spot from our research so far. and that's the goal. But yeah, no control over us. The only thing that we'll have access to is essentially the portion of revenue share, which admittedly is the majority, that does get paid out to the final wallet.
Awesome, man. Levendi, do we have any more questions for Nacho?
No, I think we've gone through them all. None have come through. I haven't not seen in the last 5-10 minutes. I've been struggling with X though. I don't know what's going on. It's Jumbotron is appearing, disappearing. It's buggy tonight. But yeah, I think we've answered through quite a few questions. I think all of them, if not. And there have been some people trying to get up on stage. I've been accepting, but X just doesn't want to know for some reason.
I had a question yesterday in our positive vibes that I promised everyone I would address here. So I can give you one to ask or just answer it directly. But they wanted to know about revenue share splits, and I think we're ready to share exactly what that percentage-based split is and how we plan on mapping that to end users that receive it.
Yeah, awesome. Go for it. That's amazing.
Yeah, ask myself a question, then answer it. I like this. The portion that is going to get revenue share that we've set so far in plans is 30%, and that covers 3 groups of individuals or 3 groups of holders of sorts. The first is the launched projects that come through Moonbound. So 10% will be set aside for these projects, and it will go to them based on volume weighting of trading on the bonding curve. So this is why I said earlier that a project that exists longer on the bonding curve may have a chance to capture more revenue because they're only able to capture based on their volume on the bonding curve. So once a project is completely graduated, their bonding curve volume will fall to 0. And while they'll still be included in calculations for a mathematical purpose, their 0 volume will equate to 0% of revenue share, and meaning they're essentially not included anymore, right? So it's initial funding is really the goal. Initial funding to a project as it's launching where they can do more with that. The second category are Nacho Cat's NFT stakers, and this is based 100% on the Zealous swap implementation. We don't want to make things difficult for users or have a poor user experience where they need to worry about staking on multiple platforms or anything like this. So we're working closely with Zealous since they've built out the Nacho Cat staking discounts and airdrop and benefits for their platform, and we're just going to call the exact same smart contract to calculate the value that goes to those end users. So on Zealous, they have each NFT has a staking power calculation. There's essentially a almost arbitrary number. It's based on the rarity of the NFTs and the inherent kind of value of the differing components of the collection. But they have to hit 100,000 power for a lot of the or for at least one of the benefits on Zealous, the discount fee. And not all NFTs have, not all can do that in one fell swoop. They may need multiple. So we're going to call that exact same smart contract and distribute rewards based on the staking power that they have in there that you can easily track on their dashboard if anyone's gone through testing. But we're not going to have any limit on that. So even if they do just one on that contract, they may not qualify for everything with Zealous, but they will still participate in rev share from Moonbound. So that component for them is 10% and proportionally distributed based on the power of the aggregate power of the NFTs that are staked in that smart contract. The last thing, or last component of that revenue share is additionally 10%. So they're the same across all 3 of these entity groups, and they're token stakers. And we had the original goal to build a single-sided token staking contract where there's no risk of impermanent loss or anything like that, where you would normally provide liquidity or stake tokens in some capacity. And obviously there's no inherent staking reward like you would see on a proof of stake chain. This is simply giving utility to all of the tokens that launch through Moonbound. Even, you know, if you're a DPIN solution or a gaming, maybe you already have all this covered and you don't really care. But if you're simply building a community and you're not, you know, an expert developer that can build the fanciest new tech, and you want to build a crypto community just like we did in the early days when we had zero experience, this inherently gives your token utility value. It can immediately be staked, and it can participate in revenue share. On that note, we've been considering looking at people who do provide liquidity on a DEX for that. So if the community has interest in this, or there's strong feelings one way or another, it might be interesting to consider this last category, people who provide liquidity on the DEX for the trading pool for that token. Maybe it's a way you hedge your impermanent loss from providing liquidity, or maybe it's just icing on the cake for what you're already doing and have already calculated well for yourself. But it's an interesting concept that we just started considering and discussing this morning. So there's an opportunity to have more conversation on that last component.
Awesome. So I've got a couple of questions just off of the back of that.
Sure.
The Nacho the Kat NFTs. So they're going to be staked on Zealous, but Moonbound will be able to take the info from Zealous basically and then reward cat holders, or have I got that wrong?
Basically, no, you're 100%. You're 100% right there. And the reason that's possible is because their staking contract is just a smart contract, right? So it's not like we need a custom API to Zealous's private information to go figure out how this power. It's all plainly available on chain on their contract. So rather than reinventing the wheel and duplicating a NFT staking environment that causes users to split and have to decide which one they want to do, we're going to call the exact same contract so that they have numerous benefits for the action they were already intending.
Yeah, I mean, that is awesome because that's basically, you've answered that perfectly. That's what I was sort of trying to get at. Do you have to choose Moonbound or Zealous to stake your NFT on? But no, I mean, that is fantastic use case there. Absolutely.
Yeah, we promised everyone in the community as we launched the NFT collection, just as we did when we launched the token, that everything we do will matter to you personally as a holder. If you hold one NFT and no tokens, it'll matter to you. If you hold one token and no NFTs, it'll matter to you. If you hold both, it still matters to you. So everything we do, we care about ensuring that we're honest with that. Or that we deliver on that promise that we made to them. So we had that question initially of like, well, we have to make sure that this benefits NFT holders in some capacity, and to do that, we're going to have to create staking. And then we realized that it may actually be a worse experience for those people if they have to switch back and forth or think about it or something. So I mean, hats off to Zealous. Lewis from their team gave me a document this morning that is literally turnkey, perfect example of how we calling that. So yeah, we wouldn't be able to do all this stuff without this community and the people who participate and help. And we had to go out and find two developers that know EVM smart contracts really well so that we could do it right. There's not a ton of that in CAS ecosystem since we haven't had that exposure yet as an ecosystem as a whole. But generally, I mean, these people who participate and the ones that we've partnered with, it's amazing. They make everything possible, right? I didn't even ask Lewis for this, and it just showed up in the Google Drive where it's like, all right, when you're ready, this is how you're going to do it.
So good, man. And like, really, honestly, it's fantastic for the holders. Like the use case there and the utility for the NFT holders is awesome. You've been able to use your NFT for both, which is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, fair play to you on that one, definitely. The other thing I was going to ask as well is about the token staking. So that's when you say the token staking, is that any token that launches on Moonbound? And got a follow-up question to that. Is Moonbound going to have its own token?
Good questions. So the first question, if we do the staking contract ourselves, instead of using the liquidity pools, like I suggested in that last answer, might be possible or might be a better option, and we're still exploring it. If we do it ourselves and do the single-sided token staking contract, then it would be tokens launched on Moonbound and Nacho. The second question you have around, shit, I lost it, Chris. Tell me. What was the second one? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no way. So is Moonbound planning on launching their own token?
Oh, yes, this is a super good question. I can't believe I forgot that. Sorry. I answered this on X one time, and the intention now is no, and we don't want to. I am genuinely hopeful that there is no technical need or benefit to do it ever. And so far, I think that that's accurate. I don't see any problem we can't solve without creating a token. So we do not want to create a Moonbound token. And the idea there is that there's no benefit to it. If we're already allowing anyone to stake tokens and revenue share, the NFTs are simply just the Nacho Cats NFTs and no others. The launch projects are already getting revenue share. There's no benefit to having another token. We firmly believe as a group that if there's no benefit to having a token or no technical need to it, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, brilliant. Makes perfect sense. And good to hear, definitely. So ZellaSwap have put something up on the Jumbotron. They said the staking contract is fully liquid and anyone can use it. We've made sure that all the staking stats are accessible to everyone, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's perfect. So call out to builders in CAS ecosystem that are working on EVM stuff. If you want to capture community to use your project, look at their staking contract. You'll be able to reward Nacho Cat's NFT stakers directly without anyone's permission or need for help.
It's so cool. I genuinely am really excited for this space in the future, in the very near future. I think Kaspa's going to explode in terms of the ecosystem around it. Definitely. I bet you guys you can't wait either with especially with Moonbound.
Absolutely. Every day it's so much fun because we've gone from kind of the disorganization that comes with like community building and volunteer work, which is I'm not shitting on it at all. It's been amazing, and everyone who's participated to Nacho so far has been critical to the success of the project, or just the progression of the project as a whole. So amazing, and we need more, and we will continue giving you jobs to do if you just raise your hand. But the idea of getting into something that I'm waking up every single morning and doing a stand-up meeting with the developers to see the progress that we've made in just 24 hours, and I'm a kid on Christmas, to be honest. It's a lot of fun.
Love it. It's so true. I mean, I've really Nacho's done fantastic work from inception. Really, you guys definitely should be proud of yourselves, and I hope you are, because you have just been consistently building out, and it's actually nice to see your own ecosystem growing out now. I can remember when we sort of first launched blockchain Banter, and obviously you came on. We didn't really know you at all, actually, and you were talking about this sort of in your white paper before, the sort of you want to build this out, and I absolutely love seeing it. I love seeing that you are following through with everything, and it seems to be working really well. And the community are getting sort of rewards as well. You like, especially through the NFTs. I think that's with the partnership with ZellaSwap, absolutely fantastic. And now with Moonbound coming out, genuinely, I just want to say I think you guys are doing a fantastic job, and certainly you, Ashton, because obviously I speak to you the most. But yeah, you guys have done an incredible job in the space, so thank you.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate the kind words, and it is so much more than just me, for sure. I mean, if it was just me, we would not be successful in the way that we are today, or even be attempting to tackle the problems that we're trying to now. So I think passing on that thanks to the whole Nacho community, and specifically the group of contributors in our Discord that are active every day, is so important. So really, hats off to them. But what the plan has been in place for a long time, and it just, Rome isn't built in a day, is the old saying, right? We just have to keep tackling one small thing at a time, and allow people to just wait for the next one. And I wish we could be even more transparent and thorough about what is coming, but it just always isn't in everyone's best interest to get them riled up about something that isn't coming soon, or isn't 100% for sure coming at all. So we'll just continue tackling these planned steps one at a time, and share them as we go. And I think the future is really, really bright for CAS as a whole, and I can't help but be excited about what we're building.
So cool, man. It really, really is. There's actually quite a good question up on the Jumbotron I've just seen pop up. Do you envisage some KRC20 projects relaunching on Moonbound?
It's a good question. I haven't heard that one yet. I feel like with the the advent of a bridge that brings your KRC20 to EVM compatibility, either through individual bridging of tokens for users, or complete migration, which we've heard a lot about being possible as well. I'm not entirely sure there'll be a good need to. And I think for builders who consider it, they should really think long and hard about their existing community, because if you launch a token on Moonbound, you will not have a way to ensure that your current holders are compensated with the same amount of tokens that they have now. And even if they are lucky enough to get the same amount of your new token that you launch, they're going to have to purchase it with CAS, which is different than already having it in their wallet. So I don't know. I don't know if they will or not, and we're not going to stop anyone from doing it. But if I had to answer that question for Nacho, I would yell and scream to the entire community that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. I think that is all the questions, unless you've seen any others that I've missed, Levendi.
No, you've
Android phone again.
You've gone through all of them, bro. Yeah, I was struggling to find the mute button there for a second. I was tabbed out to the different tab. But yeah, no, you've gone through all of them. There's one from Timbo. I'm not sure if he's missed anything from the beginning, but he's asked a question. He's asking, do you envision some KRC20 projects relaunching on Moonbound?
Oh, I'd really like to get your answer on this one, Nacho. Could you please tell us?
Finding the mute button, my ass, Levendi. That's the one we just answered a second ago.
He went and got a cup of tea, didn't he? Bloody liar. Yeah. Away from the stage.
I should have saved that for the Sunday roast, man. Sorry.
Mate, I'll clip it for you, no problem. Fucking sorry, man. I was literally tabbed out in the middle of sending a furious message, so I did honestly miss the last 5 minutes.
He's trying to get 300 quid out of a bank again. That's what he's doing.
I'm ready for round 2.
Giving him your blood type and everything, I'm sure. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, easy answer to him or anyone else who happened to not hear it is, I think it's a bad idea, but we're not going to stop anyone.
Oh, Levendi, you're awesome, man. I actually forgot. Oh, yeah. Just slightly off topic. We'll come back to this topic. When is Sunday roast again? When's the next one? Is it next weekend or the weekend after?
So we just had it on the 6th, right?
Yeah, I think it's 3 Sundays out.
Yeah, so on the 4th it should be, or was it the 11th?
Oh, that's perfect. If it's the 4th, that'd be great. Right before Crescendo.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that.
Oh my god, yeah, it's the day before.
We'll have loads of material of fudders all over X, I'd imagine. So we'll have plenty of material to slate.
Man. Oh man, I cannot wait for that. Sudden realization, it's May the 5th after that Sunday. Bloody hell.
Yeah, it's coming quick.
Yeah, man. Jesus Christ.
it's that feeling of like it's slow and slow and slow, and then it all happens all at once. It's we've been talking about 10 blocks per second forever, but it feels like it's coming extremely quickly all of a sudden.
Kind of scary as well, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait. So we do have one more question from Timbo. Do you envisage some KRC20 projects?
Oh, stop it.
So how can I help myself?
Put me in the twilight zone and make me question whether I already answered it or not.
Love it. I mean, I'm really, really, really looking forward to Moonbound. I think I'm really glad, like you've said many times, someone was going to build it out. 100% someone was going to build it out. But I'm really, really glad it's you guys. So I genuinely am looking forward to Moonbound. I think it's going to do fantastic, and I genuinely hope it does do fantastic. I think it will only benefit the ecosystem in general if it does. So yeah, certainly looking forward to it, Ashton. Do you have anything else you want to say on about Moonbounds that we may not have covered?
Maybe not specifically about Moonbound, but I think the combination of our goals for Moonbound and for the overarching foundation that will run it is really an opportunity, I think, to give more and more people the chance to contribute to Kaspa primarily, instead of working a normal job and then going to their CAS contributions after the fact. There's a big discrepancy, right? I mean, a lot of you look at like researchers and academics and stuff, and they kind of have the unique luxury sometimes of focusing on a single problem, and they don't always have to be worried about the monetary compensation of that problem. But average community members in Kaspa don't have that luxury. They have to primarily focus on putting food on their table and feeding their children or themselves or whatever it is. And it's a really distributed community. Not everyone in CAS needs $150,000 a year to put their food on their table, right? A lot of people need significantly less. So I can't promise anything, and there's certainly no financial advice in here, but I'm really hopeful that we'll empower more and more people to become builders by doing this. And that's what we're building this for. The goal is not only to make sure it's done, in what we think is the right way, because someone would inherently do it, but to also ensure that the revenue is not captured by one random person in a dark closet drinking Red Bulls all day. We want to make sure that it comes back to the ecosystem and empowers individuals, not large interests, or organizations. So this whole concept is designed to be, just as we said months ago, that the NFT was the reason that people wouldn't have to donate to the Nacho project anymore for listings and things like that. The combination of this Foundation Moonbound revenue stream is that people can contribute in a way they want to without being restricted by, capitalistic requirements of our world. So we're not going to solve everyone's problem. Not everyone's going to be able to leave their job and focus here. But if we can help, 20, 30, 50 people do it, I think our entire ecosystem is significantly more empowered because of it. And if we can do it at an individual level, people that wouldn't have otherwise had this opportunity, it's even more meaningful, in my opinion.
And that's why I'm really, really excited for Moonbound, genuinely. I think, I like I said, I really hope it goes as well as we all think it will, and should do, really, because it just benefits. It's so much more than just Moonbound. It benefits everything in our ecosystem. So yeah, really looking forward to it, man, and I can't wait for the launch.
Me too, man. If I can close out with one more thing, I want to ask a couple questions. One open-ended and one very specific about Moonbound to the community. So if you hear this on a recording or live right now, jump in the Nacho Discord or respond on X to this post or this space post and tell us the answer to this, because there's two important things. The first one's pretty straightforward and obvious. If you have any ideas or guardrails or things that you think are really important to make this the project and the platform that we've discussed is the goal today, please share them, because we've already heard a number of things from people that have really helped change the trajectory of this and empower us to do it a little better than we thought we could. The second thing is around images on the site. I really, personally, it's just me, and maybe people won't like me for this reason, but I really don't like that certain crypto platforms are not safe for work. That you can't just pull up Pump Fund at your place of employment and do something during your lunch break, because your coworker might look over your shoulder and see some sort of image that they shouldn't see in that environment. We're starting to think about that problem specifically and saying, hey, can we just blur certain token images that are not safe for work, that requires a pop-up to agree that you're over 18 years old and you specifically want to see that content. Again, we're not the arbiters or deciders of what's acceptable or not acceptable, but we do want to create a platform that anyone can use and anyone can show someone they love. So I think that this might be a good way to do it, in a way where you can pull up Moonbound and show grandma what you're trading and doing and help educate her without completely offending her. So if you think this is important, or you think it's a really stupid idea and we shouldn't do it, tell us, because I don't know what other people think.
I think the second idea you had there, certainly, personally, I think that's a brilliant idea. And it just makes it more accessible to everyone. Then I think it's a good idea.
Right on. I appreciate you.
I do have a question, actually, Ashton. Is it going to be mobile compatible? No jokes aside, of course, but is it going to be mobile compatible for both?
Yeah, that's the plan. We don't have any roadway on creating a native application right now, but everything we're doing is responsive on mobile. So you may not be able to connect to like a MetaMask Chrome extension wallet, but you will be able to use Wallet Connect, which will enable the same thing on mobile. So responsiveness, yes. Native app, probably not for a while.
Good question, man.
Thanks. It was in light to something I saw from, in fact, from a member of the X team saying about updates on Android, and it just popped into my head to ask. Pinned it up on the top, just to clarify the issues that have been going on. So if you're running a space on an Android, there's going to be some bugs. They're updating it.
Only Android, not Apple.
Yeah, it's getting an upgrade. They're leaving Apple in the dust.
Isn't it the iOS app that already has the ability to share the space and see the comments? Like, isn't it already? Isn't it already behind?
Yeah, I genuinely think Levendi's read. Sorry, I genuinely think Levendi's read that the wrong way. They're updating Androids because Android's just buggy and just terrible. They don't need to touch iPhone because it's perfect.
So it's catching up, not leaving in the dust. Understood. You heard it
here first,
guys.
Exactly. I mean, we managed to do a space for what, two hours without mentioning it. So I'd say that's a new record for us.
You know what? We usually start off strong. That's actually a good new record.
We're making changes, guys. We're growing.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like a big boy now. We're doing good stuff. Awesome. Before we sort of start to wind down the space, is there absolutely any more questions you've got for Nacho while he's here? And mainly about Moonbound, or well, for anything really, but for Moonbound, seeing as we're talking about Moonbound. Levendi, anything in the chats, or are we good?
No, we're good, unless you want to envisage another question that we've already answered. But we're good. There is everything's been answered today. We've had some few surprise questions from Ashton himself that came from the Positive Vibes space yesterday. It was a good fun atmosphere again. Was there having fun in the chat as always in the Nacho Discord. If you're not in the Nacho Discord, then what are you waiting for? There's somebody called Gig Daddy going at people's throats in there. I don't know who that is, but just,
I do.
No, but it was a great show yesterday. As always, in Positive Vibes, the laughs there, the education's there, so I enjoyed it.
It did really well yesterday too. We were actually talking on the space about how there was only like 22 Discord participants, which was really low compared to previous ones. But we started using Restream, which I think you guys do with CryptoPumpz for this space too. Shout out to him. But the the X did really well. Right afterwards, we had like 450 something people watching live, like during the actual event.
Absolutely awesome, and Restream is fantastic. I mean, big shout out to CryptoPumpz. Apologies, CryptoPumpz. I should have shouted you out before because you are live streaming this for us, and I do always forget. I really, really apologise because I do genuinely appreciate you. I think you're awesome for doing this. But yeah, he's the one who introduced, I think, everyone to Restream, and it's absolutely awesome, Matt, man.
Yeah, it is a cool platform, and we actually shut it down yesterday. Two positive vibe sessions ago. It ran for like an hour afterwards, just looking at the Discord with no one talking in it. It was fun. Someone called it out in the Discord. They're like, "It's still on X." I'm like, "Oh shit, whoops. We don't know what we're doing."
Oh, love it! Absolutely love it. Awesome. Well, I think if we don't have any more questions, Ashton, is that everything you wanted to cover?
Yep. Everything I wanted to cover on Moonbound for sure. Look out for documentation towards the end of this week, which will really just give you a lot of the information we talked about here on paper and referenceable, so you can share it with people and make sure that you heard it correctly. So we'll get that out, and then hopefully at that same time we'll have some screenshots or screen record to give you an example. Goal is over the next 1 to 2 weeks, so think kind of 10 to 15 days out, we can actually have some real testing going on. We may be able to do that sooner, but I'm kind of a conservative estimator, so that's what we're going with. Last thing I want to say, Chris, if you let me, is just a plug. Kat Pool, our open source mining pool, gaining a ton of steam over the weekend. We saw like a 50% increase in hash rate, and no shade to Kaspa, but that was at the same time that the Kaspa hash rate was going down a little bit. So it was very nice to see that inverse relationship on those. And Kat Pool is 100% crescendo ready. We are running on version 1 of the Node software already. So if you need a pool that is crescendo ready as we get towards this hard fork coming in early May, just move on over. It's just app.catpool.xyz.
Wow, that's really, really cool, man. Like that's a massive increase. Did you say 50%? 50?
50, yep.
Jesus, really, really good, man. And can you remind the audience of the incentives that are on Kat Pool for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have one of the lowest mining pool fees in all of CAS. So your effective pool rate is only 0.5%, 0.5%. The reason that it's that is because every single miner on Kat Pool pays a 0.75% fee, 0.75%, and we return 1/3 of that, so 0.25%, as Nacho tokens. So if you simply mine on Kat Pool, you're paying one of the best pool fees available to you and earning Nacho tokens at the exact same time. If you happen to hold a Nacho Kat's NFT in that wallet that you mine to, or 100 million or more Nacho tokens, we return 100% of that pool fee to you. So the entire 0.75% comes back to you as the Nacho rebate. So all of those pool fees are returned as Nacho tokens. So you'll still get your CAS. There's no discount to the CAS that you mine. All of that's just like any other pool. You're just getting a cheaper rate and some Nacho back as rebates.
So good, man. I've just seen a question just pop up actually, and it's quite a good one. It's a fair question. I think it's from CryptoPumpz actually. But he's asking, do you see after the hard fork, do you see more people wanting to switch to solo mining rather than pool mining? And I mean, I understand sort of maybe wanting to solo mine. But then again, the incentives, especially if you are a NFT holder or a Nacho holder, a large Nacho holder, the incentives are there to actually mine to your pool. But do you see anything like that happening? Maybe people pulling off from the pool and going solo mining?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And I'll start by just saying that like we're all for decentralizing the Kaspa network. So while we'd love for you to use Kat Pool, if you know how to solo mine and you've got miners that make it cost effective or statistically efficient for you to solo mine, then you should do it. You should learn how to set up the node, you should set up the Stratum bridge, and you should solo mine. It is better for the network if you do that. and we do not care about the revenue that comes from cat pool and plugging that instead of what's best for the network. So if you can solo mine, you should do it now, do it after, doesn't matter. But the crescendo hard fork goes from 1 to 10 blocks per second. So in theory, there's a lot of psychology, I think, around or just human instinct that tells us, oh, yeah, well, I'm 10 times more likely to hit a block. But it also means your reward per block is 10 times smaller. So if you hit those blocks, 10 times faster and your reward is 10 times less, isn't it the exact same economics? I may be missing something and I may not be smart enough to perfect that. I'm sure someone has. There's some sort of statistical significance to that, I'm sure, that doesn't make it identical. But at a high level, there's not really much difference, right? I mean, the money in your pocket or your wallet is probably going to be exactly the same as it was before. You may just get the dopamine hits of seeing more blocks hit on your solo mining, which is cool. But you should be solo mining if you can already. Our goal was always just to create the open source software so people could use it and empower the small miners. We always focus on the small participants in the ecosystem, not the big interests, right? Marathon and people who have 4 petahash of mine, they're probably already solo mining because it economically makes sense and they know what they're doing. But we wanted to have a turnkey solution for small miners that have the KS0, 1 KS5M or something like this, and they want to earn some Nacho at the same time. So if you see a benefit in doing that, come over to Catpool. It's a great experience, works great, and we're very much nearing the end of the open beta. So I think it should be a production label very, very soon, probably in the next 30 days. But yeah, either way, I don't see that big of a difference. A lot of people have been talking about it, and I keep going, well, isn't the reward going down too?
Yeah, it's true. It's like you said, it's probably more the dopamine hit. But yeah, I mean, brilliant answer, and actually a really, really good question. So big shout out to cryptopumpz.
Yeah. You want to shout out the second half of his thing too? I like that part better.
I didn't see the second half of his one.
It says, I'm using cat pool now and making more than I was on Hero Miners pool.
I genuinely didn't see that. Apologies. Because I don't I just try not to touch my phone while I'm on these calls because I'm sort of boomerish, so I'll destroy something. Something always breaks.
Just
but
say it's your
was a shameless
iPhone, bro.
plug.
Just say it. It's the iPhone. Put it away.
No, it's not the iPhone. It's me just being fucking boomerish. I can't help it. I've got boomer brain, even though I'm not a boomer. I'm trying to get out of it. I'm trying to be hip and cool like the kids. But yeah, when I just saw his question pop up, and then I did see another one pop up, but I was already reading his one that already happened. So my bad. Apologies for that.
Dude, all good. Just a shameless plug. I just enjoyed seeing it.
Yeah.
Those are my dopamine hits, when someone says something like that.
Oh, it is. It's good. I love it. Awesome. So yeah, massive thanks for coming on, Ashton, and speaking to us about Moonbound. I think I have actually seen in the chat or in X in general a lot of people asking about Moonbound. What is Moonbound? Heard about Moonbound. So yeah, massive thanks for coming on and explaining everything that's happening. And like I said before, I really, really do wish you all the best for it. I think it's going to be a brilliant platform, and it's going to do some awesome things for Kaspa ecosystem for sure. So yeah, massive congratulations, and hope it all works out well.
Thank you. We will definitely try our very best, that's for sure.
Awesome. Levendi, I'll let you do your thing, and then I'll do my corny, cheesy goodbye line.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Been a pleasure hosting this show alongside you, mate. Again, big shout out to our guest, Ashton and Wolf, speaker up here. And we're in the first part of the show. Great insights there, as always, mate. Pleasure. Going to be seeing you at the end of the month. We've got a British group meetup, all British people from Web3. We have a group chat going to be meeting up at the end of the month at Wolfie's Bar. Looking forward to that. I think there's some news and alpha dropping about that whole group as well. So can't wait until that unfolds. You got to be there to know. Obviously, I can't say anything. You can't squeeze me now. We're ending. So we're good. We're good. No alpha from me. But again, it's been a pleasure. I just wanted to say a big shout out to cryptopumpz. Thank you very much for all that you do, bro. I enjoyed the first episode of the Sunday roast with you as well. That was really fun. We had a clip come out of that the other day, and there's a few more that I wanted to make as well. So I'm looking forward to diving in on my next day off, and really looking forward to May 4th, man. Jesus, there's so many jokes we can make with that date. It's crazy. It's just lining up. Everything's lining up. Awesome. With that said, if there is any posts that you guys have seen on the timeline that you would like us to roast, you would like us to cover, and you would like us to absolutely demolish, just simply tag us on there. There was one today from Kaspa Facts from Confessions. Really, really good confession that was. If you saw it on the timeline, you know what I'm talking about. If not, we'll go over it on Sunday. Also, one last thing from me. Free poker game today. Shout out to a new project, new partner collaborating. They were in here earlier, learning all about Kaspa in the beginning and finding out about Moonbound. Skelly friends over from 8chain. Good to see other chains taking an interest. Good timing as well when Moonbound's coming out. So hopefully you'll learn a bit from there, and it's interesting for you. So we'll dive in with you on Wednesday and find out more. From me, it's an absolute good night and pleasure again. I'm rumbling on now and mumbling my words. I feel like an iPhone user, so I'm just going to switch off and say good night, and we'll see you on the timeline.
Oh, through all of that mumbling, the burn was good. I've got to give you that, man. It actually had me creasing. But yeah, massive thanks to everybody. Ashton, Wolf, Levendi, you guys are awesome. And a massive, massive thanks to our audience who take the time to listen to us. We wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for you guys. So really, really do appreciate that. We hope you came for the blockchain but stayed for the banter. My cheesy line, over and out. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.